Are the Goggles 3 a better value over the Goggles 2? Well, what are they selling for right now? Goggles 3. Get FPV has the G3 for $500. The G2, $450. What does the Goggles 3 get you? By the way, we also should have the frickin'... Really, the Integra is the one we should be looking at. Because the Integra is $349. That's the one we should be looking at. Because frankly, the Integra, you don't give up much compared to the G2. And you get a lot cheaper. So, no question the Integra is a better value. The big question, though, is that the G3 support all the new features of the 04 Air unit. Like the race mode, the 60 megabit per second bit rate. So, like, the G3 is the future, okay? But if you just want to fly 03 and 04, but not with the full performance... then I think the Integra is the smart way to go.
Chat wants to know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Chat wants to know why the N3 isn't being pulled up.
Well, they're just baby goggles. They're just a baby. N3 they're just a baby. Yeah. Okay. Hang on, I'll finish that thought. The G2 is $50 cheaper than the G3. I think I'd probably just spend $50 to get the G3 and be future proofed at this point. I think the G2 needs to be marked down more. And I suspect that as soon as the 04 actually releases, bam, the G2 is going to get marked down significantly. At which point, maybe the G2 will be a better value. The DJI. Well, first of all, you can't buy the N2. What is it?
N3.
DJI? N3, sorry. I don't think you can buy the N3 by itself. You can only get it in a kit with the Neo.
No, I think it's shipping by itself already.
It is. Well, la-di-da. I didn't know that happened. So $229 for the DJI Goggles N3. The Goggles N3 are not a binocular style goggle. They're a large, more like a box goggle. They do have two eyepieces, and I think do they have two screens? Does it? I'm not sure about that.
It's a single screen.
Single screen. So it's like a box goggle, basically. It's a very good box goggle. Only does 60 FPS, so it's not going to have the lowest possible latency. And I believe it doesn't support the... Does it support the race mode? Well, we don't know for sure. Max video transmission of 60 megabits per second.
It will support the race mode in the future for the 04. Yeah, it and the Goggles 3 will because they have the new chip, I believe.
But only 60 FPS, so you're not going to get the minimum latency of 31 milliseconds. So you're not getting the lowest possible latency. Which some people won't care about. Yeah, so that's pretty compelling. The DJI V2 goggles people liked a lot. Now they had dual screens. They had giant screens, but they were dual screens. I think DJI is going to do a pretty good job with a single screen. It's going to be a pretty competent goggle, and at a price of $229, it's going to be pretty compelling. It's a lot bigger than the G3 or the G2 or the Integra, that's for sure. But it's way cheaper and does almost everything that those other goggles do. Is the race mode 15 milliseconds comparable to analog? No. And I haven't flown the race mode 15 milliseconds. DJI, no. I don't know if anybody has, because I don't know if it's even been released yet. But I have flown the walk snail race mode. And what they've done is they've gone to 540p at whatever, 120 frames per second. Walk snail's 100 frames per second. They've gone to 540p lower resolution, and as a result, they have much more consistent packet timing because the packets, they're fewer, they're smaller, and it's easier to retransmit them without messing up your timing. This is how I interpret it. So walk snail race mode starts at 19 milliseconds, and then as you fly away, it goes up to 21 milliseconds, and maybe it gets up to 23 or 25 milliseconds, worst case, at the expense of 540p, absolute just trash-looking video. So it's not possible with the way that DJI and walk snail encode their video, it's not possible to have fixed latency. That's just not how iframe encoding works. you can try to minimize your latency and you can try to reduce latency spikes, but you can't guarantee that they're not going to happen. So when DJI says 15 millisecond race mode, that's like going to be when you're right next to yourself, and then as you fly away, it's going to jump up a little bit, and it's still going to be lower, but it's not going to be consistent like analog, and it's not going to be as low as analog.